Hello kiddies, it is Tuesday the 26th of May 2020 and we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Fabfilter Saturn 2. We're going to be putting on an SBUS, on a drum bus, on a bunch of different instruments. We're going to be trying out the new guitar amp emulations with some guitar DIs we've got. We're going to be modulating up a pad. We're going to be doing some multi-band shenanigans with a piano. Let's get on with it, shall we? Let's have a listen to the track we're going to be working on. We've got ourselves a pop piano ballad, and I am feeling the emotion on this one, boys and girls. Not a dry eye in the house. Okay, let's drop it in on the SBUS. So when I'm applying saturation, I always like to do the same thing. I always like to crank the heck out of it. This is different. The mid and side option is now here. So let's see what we can do. Let's go to the subtle tube. That's quite nice. Let's try subtle type. Let's blend the drive back in from the get-go. So we can play with the dynamics here. I like this option a lot, but you have to be a little bit careful. You go too far either way, it'll start popping and cracking. So we can push the drive more in the direction of the mid or the side. Now, because we're on the SBUS, let's see if we can get a little bit of width going. I'm just going to push it a little bit in the side. And then we can play with the tone options a little bit as well. So we'll just push them all the way so you can hear them. A lot of bass. Farty mids. Teeny treble. And fizzy presence. Give it a little bass. Make it sound nice and warm here. It's like back when they used to use consoles for mixing. Okay, let's blend in the wet dry. Okay, this is without it. This is with it. Next up, the drum bus, and I've muted all the instruments apart from the bass, so we've got a little bit of context. So let's crank it. I like that. So we'll just blend it back in from zero. With the dynamics. Let's see if we can do something with tone. Back off the mix a touch. All right, this is without it. This is with it. Let's have a go at the bass guitar. Let's see what the transformer does for it. Ooh. That's tasty. So we'll blend it back in. Let's have a quick go at the dynamics. And then we'll play with the tone. So we're going a little bit heavier with the drums and a little bit lighter with the bass. Let's just have a little mixed trick. This is without the Fabfilter Saturn. This is with the Fabfilter Saturn. It's giving it some nice snarl. So let's bring in the rhythm guitars. We've got left and right rhythm guitars. The guitars are both DIs, so we need to give them a little bit of amp flavor. These are the two guitars, naked. Inspiring stuff, I think you'll agree. So let's go and find some amps. American Tweed amp. American Plexi amp. British Rock amp. British Pop amp. Let's keep flying through. Alright, so we've got American Tweed amp, I say. And we got Smooth amp. That's if you use Soul Glow on your hair. Just like your soul glow. Yeah? So let's back the drives back. A little bit of the Who going on there, man. Let's give this some dynamics. Slow them down on this one. Let's work the tune. This is our two guitars without the Fabfilter Saturn. Let's drop the Saturn on it. Right, let's take a listen to the power guitars. They're so powerful. That's like sitting down to an 80s action movie. Instead of it being an Arnold movie, it's Eric Roberts. Right, I think we need to find some power for our power guitars. Let's see if we can get a bit of a contrast going. Let's try the American Plexi amp here. Let's try the British Rock amp. I like that. I don't like this. British Pop amp. Alright, let's blend them in from 0 on the drive. Let's give this a bit of crunch. Got a little slower on the dynamics. So we get a bit more weight on this thing. Take some of that fizz off. These are the power guitars, or wimpy and rubbish. Let's give them some power. Right, let's bring the rhythm guitars back in. Okay, so we're going to drop the Fabfilter Saturn onto the guitar buses and see if we can get ourselves a little bit of contrast going. Let's see a little transformer action on this. This is what we'll do. That's nice. I like this one tape's working. Okay, let's blend it back. Let's hit the dynamics up a touch. And let's see if we can play with a little bit here with the mid and side a bit. Push the rhythm guitar slightly side. We'll push the power guitar slightly mid. Let's give these guys a little bit more weight. Okay, so this is without the saturation on the guitar buses. This is with the saturation. I particularly like what the transformer is doing for the rhythm guitars. The power guitars are a little bit dull. I think we might see if we can play with a bit of modulation. So let's try modulating the drive maybe a little. Let's sync it to the rhythm of the track. And let's see if we can just affect the range of that a little bit. So by moving the slider, you increase or decrease the range of the variance. So we can go really nuts. So we got really pulsing. Or we can go for something quite subtle. And by controlling these, you can make it so it goes in one direction or the other. So if you just want it to kind of burst up from that point, we can affect how smooth it is. Let's go a little faster again. So this is without the modulation on the power guitars. This is with the modulation on the power guitars. It's just giving it a little bit of movement. So let's take a look at this pad, sans saturation, as they say en français. I think we're going to be playing middle and side with this one. Well, that's nice. That's very good indeed. Let's just back that off a touch. Let's push it to the sides. Slow the dynamics down. Let's see if we can push the tone around a bit. I think a touch of modulation could come in handy on this. Let's try modulating the panning. I think we're only going to want to go wider. We'll go for a square. Let's glide it a little. Number 2, just like that. Let's put it in with the thing. Let's make it fast. Go really fast. Oh, that's kind of weird. Let's back it off a bit. So this is the pad without desaturation. Let us add the modulation. That's really very nicely effective. I like that a lot. It is a piano ballad, so perhaps we should have the piano. And immediately you can hear there's a bit of a problem. It's kind of really congested in there. It's not really standing out. Let's see if we can get the Fabfilter Saturn to help kind of give that piano its own place in the mix. Let's take a slightly different approach to the piano. Let's work the multi-band options. I'm just going to mute a couple of things so we can kind of hear what's going on. So let's just find some bass notes. We can change the crossover slopes. That's new. I like that. Let's go for a gentle crossover slope. Let's add another one. Let's just see what we can do with these midis. See what's going on at the top. So we just got a bunch of fizz up there. Let's listen to this one. Maybe split this in half. So we take the sort of warm frequencies. And then what kind of telephone frequencies. That's kind of nice. Let's go back to the low then. Let's try smooth amp. It's not too bad. Let's crank the thing back down and around. Got some bass. Let's push it to the mid. That's kind of cool. Let's bring this guy in. What have we got here? Sawtube. Let's bring back in. We've got Warmt. And in. Oh, that's nice. And it back in. Maybe give it a little bit of side. Do some dynamics. Maybe a little mid, not too much. What's your presence? Oh, yeah, man. Let's blend in. There we go. Let's go to the final one. I like that. It's giving it a little bit of honky tonk. Blend it in gently. Let's give it some presence. Okay, so this is the piano without the Fabfilter Saturn. And this is with we'll start off with the raw track, and then we'll start blending in the Fabfilter Saturns in the order in which we added them. First up, we added a bit of subtle tape to the SBUS. Next up, the drum bus and some clean tube. Then the bass guitar, subtle transformer. Then we worked on the two rhythm guitars by adding I say it's an American Tweed amp. And a little smooth amp. Then we went over to our bow guitars. We added some British bop amp and some British rock amp. Then we started to work the guitar buses. So on the rhythm guitar bus, we added a little bit of Warmt transformer. Working very nicely, that. And then on the power guitar bus, we had some Warmt tape, and we added a little bit of modulation to the drive. Next up was the pad. So we gave it some subtle saturation, and again we modulated, this time the panning, to just push it on the sides a little bit more with that modulation. Then the piano, and we actually used some multi-band saturation. We had smooth amp in the lows, subtle tube in the mids, subtle saturation in the highs, and then old tape in the very, very, very highs. Final thoughts. I really like these new subtle options. I think they're very, very good. And I really like the transformer option as well that we're using here on the bass. The new amp flavors are very cool and give you something extra to play with. Particular highlights, I think the modulation option for both the pad and the power guitar was very, very good. And I think what the multiband did to the piano was great. There's no doubt that Fabfilter build incredibly comprehensive plugins. They don't build that many, and they do tend to be a little pricey, but you get an awful lot, and it's very, very well engineered. My only running gripe with Fabfilter is that they don't do 64 float processing. I spoke to the tech department about this, I think about 6 months ago. They have no plans to switch to 64 float processing. I'd really, really love it if they would. But that aside, I mean, you can't argue with the oversample options. 32 times oversample is nuts. Way more than, let's face it, most home setups are going to be able to cope with. The depth in this thing's fantastic. The creative options are very, very good. It can either be very, very subtle, or it can be incredibly offensive. What can I say? Yeah, Fabfilter, just take my money. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe. And if you want to be notified the next time I drop a new video, hit the little notification bell below. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very, very much for listening. I've got a new remix coming out pretty soon. Until then, good night and good noise. Stay safe and stay healthy.